Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather in the US and some winter stuff in Canada. So let's see. Now we have an enhanced risk for today in parts of Oklahoma and northern Texas, and a slight risk from Texas to Missouri, and a bigger marginal from like Louisiana to Nebraska. So be careful in those areas. Yesterday night and early morning, we had a destructive tornado parts of Oklahoma. So please have ways to receive alerts and have a place to go and a plan to stay safe from these severe storms. Please be careful. So let's see. Tornado threat 10%, now in 5 and 2%. So 10% in parts of Oklahoma and northern Texas, 5% around it, and 2%. So please be careful with those tornadoes today. Wind threat 30% as well. Might be some bigger damaging winds, and 5 and 15% around it too. And hail, 15 and 5%, but there's an area in northern Texas and Oklahoma for some very large hail potentially. So let's see here. So wait here. They say multiple rounds of strong to severe storms are possible today through tonight or parts of southern plains. Tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail are all possible. So let me see here. Sorry. So let's take a look. They do say like thunderstorms have begun to form along the surface boundary over parts of West Texas. Broken clouds ahead of this activity, along with dew points in the upper 60s, will eventually lead to intensification of increasing severe risk. A large upper trough digs into New Mexico, and remnant outflow boundary from overnight storms extends north Texas, southeastern Oklahoma. Anticipated storms to the west will interact with this boundary through the afternoon and evening, resulting in corridor enhanced risk of Boeing supercell structures capable of damaging wind gusts and a few tornadoes. So that's the highest risk area. Therefore, we have upgraded to enhanced risk. Recent chem solutions suggest storms may maintain severity into southwestern Missouri and northwestern Arkansas late tonight. So have ways to receive warnings with a continued risk of damaging wind gusts. So please be careful in those areas and stay safe there with this severe weather. So let's see. Tomorrow, day 2, there's still an enhanced risk. So two enhanced risks in a row. Slight risk around it from Texas to Missouri, and marginal from Texas to Illinois, and the enhanced there. So let's see for Monday tomorrow. 10% hatched tornadoes. So today was hatched, but they removed it. But since this is hatched for tomorrow, there's a greater risk of EF2 to EF5 tornadoes. So please stay safe. There's a 5% around it and a 2% around it for tomorrow, Monday. So please stay safe with these tornadoes. Damaging winds 30%, so there might be some big damaging wind gusts as well. 15 and 5% around it, and hail 15 and 5% as well for hail. So let's see. Scary thunderstorms are likely, especially Monday afternoon to early evening from southeast Texas to southwest Missouri. Tornadoes, a couple which may be strong, and damaging wind gusts should be the main hazards. So please stay safe there. You can read here if you want to see the dynamics and everything, but this video would be too long if I see everything. But please stay safe there. Have as many ways as possible to receive warnings, radios, and everything. And check the link in the description of the Storm Prediction Center to see like the latest tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches and mesoscale discussions, because there are some important things on the mesoscale discussions there. And also, if there are many major updates like a moderate risk or something, we'll make another video, of course. But please stay safe. We'll also put a link to a site with all the severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings in the description, but have another way to receive warnings, like a radio, in case you forget to check the site, because like the tornado last night in Oklahoma, these tornadoes can be very serious. So please stay safe. And let's see, day 3, just some general risk of storms there. So yeah, and there's also an elevated fire weather threat for parts of Southern California today. Beware of some dry conditions and gusty winds may promote some fire danger. And tomorrow, day 2, still an elevated in parts of Southern California there. So be aware. Now, in other stuff, we have some flash flooding possible. Today, Sunday, a slight risk and a marginal risk of flash flooding of excessive rainfall. So let's see. A slight risk in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, and a marginal around it. And tomorrow, Monday, a slight risk of flash flooding still, like Texas to, to Michigan, and a marginal from Texas to northern Michigan too. So be careful there. And let's see. Day 3 for Tuesday, still marginal, Texas to Indiana. And day 4 for Wednesday, shows still a marginal in the southeast near Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas and Alabama. And day 5 shows 2 marginals, another one in Texas to Kansas and another one in the southeast. So be aware those areas, be careful with the flash flooding, especially with those storms today and tomorrow. And let's see, the snowfall probabilities, still some snowfall probabilities across the Rockies in Colorado, so be aware of some more snow there in the Rockies, and some other mountains of Utah and some areas. Day 2 shows some more snowfall potential, some heavier snow northern Washington, parts of northern Idaho too, and Montana there, and especially in Canada, like British Columbia and some areas. And then shows more, a little bit of snow northern New Mexico and Colorado too. So be aware. Day 3, some more snow in Montana and Colorado and some other areas. Day 4 still shows the Southern Rockies, some probabilities there. Day 5 still around the Southern Rockies and even the plains, some low snowfall probabilities. Day 6 more around the Southern Rockies, and day 7 in Washington again. So be aware. And let's see, the winter storm severity index shows some areas of major impacts, parts of the Southern Rockies, day 1 through 3. This is mainly for mainly for snowfall amount, but there can be some other stuff like blowing snow, uh, especially around Montana, Washington, and Colorado too, in some areas, and snowfall out in Idaho, some are major impacts. So be careful in those areas. Now, ice, no area, but heavy snow, we have the higher probabilities there. So be careful. Very high in Colorado today, the probabilities in other areas across the west. Later, those probabilities continue. This is Tuesday, shows very high probabilities for parts of Idaho, Washington, even western Wyoming, British Columbia and Alberta, northern Montana. So be aware. And later, it kind of continues there into Colorado and Wyoming again, and Idaho, Montana especially. So be aware. Now, let's see if there's something else. Be aware. So this is the trough that's digging down, causing the severe weather and everything. This is on the GFS. Let's see a little bit later if it shows something like next Thursday or something. Still shows that trough lingering around there, the potential tropical system, the Gulf, and yeah, so be aware. But what is more interesting, like here, not attention, but let's see the snowfall first, like the 48 hour snowfall shows there. Let's see, this is Sunday, so this until Tuesday does show that snow in Colorado, northern New Mexico, Utah, and some areas there. like this in Idaho shows more snow, heavier northern Washington, so be careful in those areas. Shows like in some higher spots of Colorado close to 10 inches to 12 inches, but especially in northern Idaho and northern Washington close to 20 inches or something the next 48 hours. So be aware. They have the 48-hour precipitation here, so until Tuesday, does show that heavy rain in the plains from those storms go close to 5-6 inches in some areas there. So be careful with the flash flooding and the 24-hour max wind gusts. Just like the wind gust by itself, not associated with the storms, shows some very high winds today in northern Montana, even close to 65 mile per hour gusts occasionally. Parts of southern Utah as well, some 60-50 mile per hour gusts occasionally. In the Sierra Nevada in California, that's those small mountains in northern California there, and a little bit gusty southern California, and many are central US, some above normal winds. So be aware those areas. Now, the temperatures, maximum temperatures today, Sunday, does show those A is still in southern Texas, some 70s, and A is in some areas. Still cold in the amount is some 20s, 30s there, 70s in the southwest, and 40s in the northeast. But Sunday night until Monday, today to tomorrow, does show those colder temperatures there in Wyoming, some teens, and even some higher elevations, maybe even less than 10 Fahrenheit. Shows some 20s and Fahrenheit in the northeast as well, some more negative temperatures there, and some like 20s, 30s, many areas across the west, especially some things in Nevada too, in Utah, some very cold temperatures in Colorado, so be aware. Now, Monday afternoon, tomorrow, like the maximum shows here still some A is in southern Texas, some higher 80s, even low 90s, and some A is in Florida, some 40s in the northeast, and some 70s central US, and still very cold, some 20s in the mountains there, even some teens, the very high elevations across the west. Now, tomorrow night until Tuesday, Monday night to Tuesday, let's see. Does show still those very cold temperatures there, and they see now they're branching a little bit into the plains too, so like 20s, 30s Fahrenheit, most of the Dakotas, some 20s, parts of Nebraska too, Colorado especially, some teens, some high elevations might be less than 15 Fahrenheit in Colorado. In Wyoming still cold, most of the west there, in the high elevations of Nevada, Utah, and Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, much of those areas, so be aware. Now, Tuesday afternoon does show, let's see here, so does show some A is there in Florida still, some 70s in some areas, some 40s, and still very cold in the mountains during the day on Tuesday, so be aware, some 60s and 70s in the southwest. And yeah, now day 3 minimum, let's see, so Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, they really kick down those temperatures around Wyoming and Montana and those areas. So like it already shows here like 11 Fahrenheit, 17 Fahrenheit, 19 Fahrenheit, not only into Colorado, so 19, 28 Fahrenheit, 29 Fahrenheit. Even northern New Mexico colder, northern Arizona, the Sierra Nevada in California, and some negative temperatures all the way from Washington to northern Michigan, like the UP of Michigan. So be aware in those areas. Let's just see a little bit closer here, because to see like Wyoming a little bit better. So this is Wednesday morning, like 5 a.m. Show some 3 Fahrenheit, like 4 Fahrenheit, 3 Fahrenheit, 7 Fahrenheit. So very cold. Be aware. And then those darker purples, even darker purples, might be even close, like -1 Fahrenheit or even less. Some 2 Fahrenheit in Idaho, 2 15, 16 Fahrenheit, 12 Fahrenheit in Nevada, 7 Fahrenheit in Utah, 13, 11, 14 Fahrenheit. So be aware, very cold. Now, later, like Wednesday afternoon, let's see. So, day 4 max here. The show here. So still shows very cold in the high elevations like Wednesday afternoon. Some May is in the south as well. Some 70s in some areas, 40s in the mountains still very cold. So so be aware. I'll show here until Thursday afternoon, and then we check the rest later. So still Wednesday night until Thursday, showing some ridiculously cold temperatures in parts of the west there. Very cold in Wyoming. Of course, it's still autumn, and like January will be 10 times colder than this. But like for November standards, early November, this is very cold. So be aware. So 19 Fahrenheit in Montana to 21, 24 Fahrenheit. So very cold in those areas. Now here, let's just see a little bit closer, like Wyoming, if this works. So here, come on. So this is Thursday morning around 3 to 4 a.m. Most people will be sleeping, but remember to stay warm even at home. And they show some 0 Fahrenheit, 1 Fahrenheit, 10 Fahrenheit, 2 Fahrenheit, 1 Fahrenheit, 6 Fahrenheit. So very, very cold. 0, 1 Fahrenheit. So please be aware in those higher elevations. Very, very cold temperatures this week. 5 Fahrenheit, 3 Fahrenheit, 7 Fahrenheit. Very, very cold there. Be aware, even some 8, 9 Fahrenheit in Nevada, 18 Fahrenheit, 4 Fahrenheit in Idaho. So be aware, very, very cold. And now, like here again, let's see. So day 5, maximum temperatures for Thursday shows colder in the Rockies in Colorado, but still some May is in the south, some 70s, and now Thursday night to Friday. Let's just see here to see if those cold temperatures continue. Shows a little bit better on Friday morning, but still very cold, some teens and 20s in those areas. So be aware. And here, so now the storms with the severe weather does show there those lines of storms are already active there, and those storms continue, shows more rain to in parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, more just like general rainfall. But then in Texas and Oklahoma later this evening, so there's the line of storms now, but later does show those other storms forming, and those shapes look like some supercellular structures, northern Texas and Oklahoma, by the shapes of that. So please be careful. Even later they congeal into the line, but there might still be some embedded tornadoes and many damaging winds and hail. So be careful. And also shows more shower activity around Arizona, New Mexico too, but it's kind of colder there, so there might be some snow in the mix in the mountains. But you never know. There might be a thunderstorm or two there. But yeah, the Monday tomorrow shows the line of storms continuing in Missouri and Arkansas and those areas, and that there can still be some nocturnal tornadoes with those storms. Please stay safe. So like the Monday afternoon still shows those storms in Texas and Oklahoma, especially late afternoon and evening. This line of storms here could have those tornadoes that is mentioned there, especially a little bit earlier than that when the storms start organizing there in Texas into that line. So please stay safe there tomorrow. This is very serious. So today the Cape shows more Cape in Texas, but like a few hours from now in the afternoon does show more Cape in Oklahoma, close to 2,000 joules per kilogram or even more, and goes there. And like Monday tomorrow tomorrow afternoon does show some higher cape there, some 2000 to almost 2400 joules per kilogram parts of Oklahoma. So that's a lot of energy for those storms. Be careful. And now uh, let's see, like a little bit closer, like southern US. So these are the max wind gusts from the earth today. Does show like in Oklahoma from those storms close to 70 mile per hour gusts. In Texas, some very high gusts too, but be careful there. And then Monday, tomorrow, does show those other La Nina storms developing, especially like eastern Oklahoma into Arkansas. Some very high gusts. There'll be like some between 80 and 100 kilometer per hour gusts, like some 50 to almost 75 mile per hour gusts. But the most severe storms can have even higher mile per hour gusts, so never underestimate a storm. Like you can see, very small there. Some areas in Oklahoma, some very high gusts. So be careful there. And also, if you're in the mountains or something, northern New Mexico shows some very high gusts there too. So be aware those areas. And yeah, so please stay safe from those storms. Now, here they have the flood watches there for all the rain, the wind weather advisories, parts of Colorado, Utah, and also like Arizona, winter storm watches in Montana, high wind warnings northern Montana, winter storm warnings northern Washington, wind weather advisories and red flag warnings north southern California, and high wind warnings there in those mountains and valleys, southern California, even some freeze watches in south central California, some winter weather advisories western Alaska, some heavy freezing spray warnings in the ocean there, some flood watches southern Hawaii, and high surf advisories there too. So be careful there. I have some flash flood warnings there, and more some high wind watches southeastern Wyoming, and some like winter storm watches southern Colorado, northern New Mexico. So be careful those areas. Now let's see. In Canada, we do have some warnings in British Columbia and some advisors in Yukon there. So let's see, they have like wind warnings in British Columbia, many areas, special weather statements throughout many areas of British Columbia, East Vancouver Island, and much of Vancouver Island, Fraser Valley, Greater Victoria, and all those areas there, Metro Vancouver. So be aware, if you click on special weather here, they say strong winds and heavy rain are likely, Metro Vancouver and Fraser Valley, overnight until Monday. So that's one area, but there are all these other areas here, like in Vancouver Island, strong winds and heavy rain are likely. Most parts of Vancouver Island there, Southern Gulf Islands, East Vancouver Island, many areas, overnight until Monday. So be careful. You can click on the high wind warning here. Strong winds are expected overnight into Monday, so be careful with loose objects and everything. In Yukon, still a blowing snow advisory in Dempster. Poor visibility near zero in blowing snow is expected or occurring, so be aware in some highways there as well. Ongoing until likely until midnight, so be careful there. And if you're interested in like marine stuff, there are the marine warnings here. They say like they have sea ice forecast and a bunch of stuff. So you can always check here. There are marine forecasts. The red areas are like some warnings, freezing spray warning effect. So yeah, if you do stuff in the ocean or something, it's good to always check here. So let's see here. Here there's still like that system near like Alaska. There's some higher gusts, but there's shows that system works like in British Columbia starting Monday tomorrow. This is the European model. It has some higher winds there, like they mentioned, many areas of British Columbia, and it shows until like Tuesday those higher winds there, southern British Columbia and southern Alberta, northern Montana, those higher winds starting like late Monday into Washington, those higher winds in the mountains there, close to like some 53 mile per hour gusts, 56, especially in some interior areas, some 58 mile per hour gusts into northern Oregon as well. So be aware. Shows later still in Montana, some higher winds in Oregon and Washington there, in Idaho. So this is Tuesday. Then the European model does take those stronger winds late Tuesday and middle day Tuesday into Wyoming, northern Colorado, some higher gusts. And there's that system there with the severe weather and everything shows some higher gusts throughout much of those areas, but it'll be really later, like Tuesday, when it shows so much higher gusts parts of the Midwest and the plains, close to 46 to 50 mile per hour gusts. And like this is Tuesday, shows late Tuesday to Wednesday, some higher gusts in Michigan, Indiana especially, and when Wednesday this goes away there, but does show like starting Wednesday or something, some high winds in Quebec, close to 70 km per gust, parts of Ontario, windier through southern Ontario, and especially eastern Quebec is like some 75 km per gusts. And then later Wednesday, this goes into the Atlantic, shows all the way to 100 km per gusts by the European in New Brunswick, some higher gusts as well, northern Maine and eastern Quebec, but especially Nova Scotia shows some higher gusts in some areas. And be careful, this is Wednesday. Newfoundland, very late on Wednesday to Thursday, might get some higher gusts there. So here, this is close to some 86 km per gusts, 72, 71. So please be careful in those areas, and then it goes away there. But then it shows another system, like that system in the west there shows like Wednesday, but already Tuesday, late Tuesday, some strong winds in southern Yukon, southern Alaska, and other parts of British Columbia. This shows more winds from northwestern territories and the mountains of British Columbia Wednesday, but show like this new system coming towards the coast on Wednesday of southern Alaska and British Columbia shows some very high gusts throughout British Columbia there, especially in the mountains, those central eastern mountains of British Columbia. Be careful there. And shows like southern Alaska, some 55 mile per hour gusts, 45 mile per hour gusts. So be careful late Wednesday into Thursday. And like Thursday morning does show in British Columbia all the way to 109 km per hour gusts. Some mountains there, so be careful. In Alberta, might be windy as well. Then shows this system crossing like central Canada with some a little bit higher gusts. And then especially Thursday, this goes into the Hudson Bay, shows northern Manitoba and southern Nunavut, some higher gusts, and still in the mountains of British Columbia a little bit higher. By Friday, show like later on Friday, northern Ontario and Quebec might have some higher gusts, especially on Hudson Bay, still showing higher gusts on Friday in the mountains of British Columbia. Then later Friday into Saturday, on November 8th, does take this towards like central Quebec, some higher gusts, even like southeastern Quebec, eastern Ontario, northern Ontario, even to northern New Hampshire, parts of Maine, close to 40 mile per hour gusts or even 50. So be aware, this is Friday and goes away, might get bumpy around the Atlantic again. So be aware. Even Saturday the 9th shows another system Hudson Bay there, and the European model is very crazy about this next system. It does take a system into British Columbia on November 9th, close to 116 km per hour gusts. Then it crosses there, shows you going to Alberta and other parts of British Columbia November 10th with some very, very, very high gusts. But then it crosses this throughout Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and it turns this into like a very big wide system on Sunday, November 10th. Some very high winds in all those areas, and then it goes away there. But this is still far out. This forecast will change a bunch of times. But let's see. The GFS has a similar thing. Those high winds are near the Great Lakes because of the system there. Then shows the system on the Pacific on Monday, uh, around Atlantic and then the Northeast on like Wednesday. Those higher gusts shows northern Quebec and Labrador on Thursday, showing some higher winds too. The GFS, and then Friday the other system British Columbia there. And they does kick up those winds in northern British Columbia, parts of northwestern territories on like Saturday the 9th. And then it isn't really showing that crazy system like the European, but that shows some more stuff. The icon showing some intense stuff as well. This is Saturday, November 9th. The icon shows all the way to 141 km per gust in parts of British Columbia. So yeah, that might be crazy, but it's still far out. We can't know much yet. So here, here it shows like that system across the Rockies now, that rain and snow shows also some snow parts of Saskatchewan and Alberta and northwestern territories, and shows some snow in Alaska, some lingering wet snow British Columbia and some other areas. And then it's even a spot to show freezing rain Monday in northern Manitoba. Then does show a freezing rain or two in Quebec with that rain Monday. Tomorrow shows that system across the west. More snow Monday, British Columbia, Washington, parts of Idaho, and Wyoming, especially Tuesday, even into Colorado on Wednesday. Shows more snow like Montana, Wednesday into Thursday. Uh, Still parts of Utah, southern Alberta, and southern Saskatchewan as well. But it does bring this other system there into southern Alaska on Tuesday into Wednesday with a lot of snow like Yukon, Alaska, and British Columbia, and showing some freezing rain in British Columbia on Wednesday with this. The European model is really showing some more spots of freezing rain possible Wednesday. And meanwhile, while that's happening, there's snow and the rain and snow parts of Quebec and Labrador with some freezing rain potential as well, and more snow showers in Quebec like Wednesday into Thursday, and then some other systems after that in Quebec, especially Friday the 8th, showing more snow, more next Saturday and stuff. So be aware. And then Wednesday, I showed you the system there, British Columbia, and does take some snow into Nunavut, Northwestern Territories. It shows some freezing rain like uh, parts of northern Alberta, Northwestern Territories, and British Columbia. Goes there, shows more like snow in the northwest and some areas there, and freezing rain on Friday the 8th. And it's also bringing more systems on Friday into next Saturday into British Columbia, and it forms that big system there and showing more stuff later. So be aware, and even showing some small freezing rain potential in near New Mexico and Colorado around Friday, and the snow there. So be aware those areas. Now the snowfall accumulation until like Friday the 8th shows more snow there in northern Quebec, especially most of Quebec there'll be more snow except southern Quebec, but most of Quebec, southeastern Quebec, even as north to northern New Brunswick, northeastern northwestern Nova Scotia, uh, eastern Newfoundland, and a snow shower too in other areas. But most of Quebec, northern Ontario shows some wisps of snow, central Ontario too into Quebec, northern Manitoba shows a little bit more snow too, northern Saskatchewan, parts of northwestern territories, except some southern areas and south central areas, but most snow there. More parts of Nunavut, especially southwestern Nunavut, shows more in Yukon, more snow there, especially in the mountains. It shows more some heavy snow near northern British Columbia, close like 119, 120 centimeters, southern Alaska, in the mountains there. Shows more from northern British Columbia, those other mountains of eastern British Columbia, especially western British Columbia, the mountains there, and southern Alberta, more snow there, even northern Alberta, a snow or two, and does show like some more snow in Washington next 5 days, close to 17 inches. Some other areas of Idaho, like 5-7 inches. In Montana, a little bit more. Utah, but the European model is very crazy about the snow in New Mexico, Colorado later this week. About 24 inches, 30 inches in New Mexico, 26 inches. So this will be a lot, but I don't really think this much will happen. There's the GFS. It also shows a similar scenario: more snow Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, some in Wyoming. Shows more Montana and Idaho. Northern Washington shows more in the mountains there, and some more across British Columbia, especially very heavy northwestern British Columbia. Be careful there. In Alaska, the mountains of southern Alaska shows more there from Alaska, more than 50 inches of snow in those mountains. The European shoe, it has more than 83 inches of snow. The mountains of southern Alaska. In Anchorage, about 5 inches, but there will be snow. Shows more snow in the Aleutian Islands, more to central southern Alaska. So be aware. The icon also has more snow southern Alaska, mainly in the mountains, but does have some snow central northern Alaska as well. Has more throughout Yukon, Northwestern Territories. There's no British Columbia, and the icon has also this big snow event like New Mexico, all the way to southern New Mexico, Colorado, and those areas. So better just keep a watch there next week, because many models are kind of showing this. So be aware those areas. Now, just some quick temperatures for Canada. Show like still some -9, -17, very cold in those areas. Show like -2 in some areas, -3. Then on like Sunday, Monday might be less cold in Ontario, parts of Manitoba, because there is one cold air mass there and more cold there. So this right in the middle shows more cold like Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia. This is Monday. Uh, Monday night into Tuesday shows colder temperatures northern, north central Nunavut, uh, northwestern territories, Yukon especially, so -23 degrees, British Columbia, those colder temperatures there, and right into western Ontario. It, it kind of warms up during the day. Southern Ontario, close to 20 degrees on like Wednesday evening, but also like Wednesday night into Thursday, central western Ontario and Quebec, those colder temperatures coming back, and show like most of Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, negative temperatures, except right in the immediate coast of British Columbia, but does show some very cold temperatures. This is alright Thursday, more into Quebec, Ontario, except the southernmost areas, but does show very cold in Nunavut, Yukon, and those areas there. There's like a gap with not much cold temperatures, like on Thursday, Alberta, parts of Alberta, British Columbia, especially late on Thursday there, showing this gap. Might be a, a high pressure or something, but does show this gap kind of stays there, especially like on Saturday. This might be like a high pressure system or something, but it does show the gap and maybe some colder temperatures all the way to southern Quebec on like next Saturday. Some very cold temperatures setting up in northern Nunavut already, and some areas, and does bring the cold back down on like November 11th in some of those areas there. But this forecast still might change. So let's just see something interesting. There's like North America. So here, the showed The GFS does show those areas of above average temperatures, parts of the eastern US and eastern Canada, and that below average did this week in the western US, where those very cold temperatures does have that area of slightly above average temperatures, central Canada, like by the end of this week, and some other dips of below average temperatures in western US, and does have more below average in the west there, and yeah, and it still keeps some above average temperatures in Canada. Like, although it shows above average, it will be very cold, like I showed you before there. So be aware. There's the European model 2, shows now that those below average temperatures, especially later this week across the west, and then like later does show some kind of above average temperatures later, like early next week and across central Canada. But now this makes sense because it shows those above average temperatures central Canada November 9th, but then by November 11th it brings the cold air back down again. So each model has a different version of it, but it does bring some colder temperatures on November 13th and 11th again.